Okay, so welcome back to our series, Google Ads for Chiropractors. So in the previous videos, we talked about a lot of different things, right? We talked about conversion tracking, we talked about quality score, ad rank, we talked about keywords and ad group structure. So we built out our keywords, we moved the keywords into the Google Ads editor. We completed the build along with our ad copy. Actually, let me back up just 1 second. So we actually did the keywords and the ad copy in Google Sheets. We're going to cover the ad copy in the next video, but we did the keywords and the ad copy in the Google Sheets document, and then we move everything into the Google Ads editor. We then flush out the build and we post it live to the account. In this video, I'm still going to talk about keywords. We're not going to get into ad copy again until the next video, but I want to show you what the keywords look like once they're loaded into Google Ads, and that in the way that we structure our campaign. So in the previous video, I talked about starting at the bottom of the funnel. So we start at the very bottom of the funnel. We use what we call an isolation campaign. That's our own terminology. Isolation simply means we're isolating and protecting keywords that we know have high value to the business, and we are bidding them appropriately to be able to get quality conversions in the account. Quality conversions is really important because those are the success signals. It's food for the algorithm so that Google Ads can learn about what actually generates success for your business, and it can find more of that, right? So it's an algorithm. It's algorithmic learning. Takes that as it's almost like an audience, right? So if you ever do like Facebook advertising, we build audiences over there. Well, here we're building an audience of conversions, right? And we're taking that and using that again as food for the algorithm, so Google can find other people that are just like that, and that's really how you scale an account. Again, we covered that in the past video, so if that doesn't make any sense to you, go back and watch the previous videos in this video set for chiropractors, okay? So this time we're going to take a deep dive into the actual Google Ads account. So we built the keywords and the ad copy in the Google Sheets, and then went into this Google Ads editor as you're seeing here. We flush out the build, and then we push that live into the actual account, and that's what we're going to take a look at right now, okay? So here we are in the account. We have different types of campaigns. So we have an isolation campaign. Again, this is our terminology. Isolation is simply exact match and manual CPC. So this allows us to get the tightest targeting possible within Google Ads. Okay, exact match, unfortunately, is no longer exact because Google has expanded it with close variants, okay? So we still have to be careful and watch to make sure that Google is not wasting money, but exact match is as tight as we can, and usually we want the search terms which people are typing into Google. So from a terminology perspective, search terms are what people type into Google. Keywords are what you're bidding on. In these isolation campaigns, we want the search terms to be as close as possible to what we have identified as keyword opportunities. And again, our goal in the very beginning is to get to that magical number of 30 conversions per month. We want to make sure that we have 30 quality conversions coming into the account that would either be form submissions or phone calls that last a certain amount of seconds, usually 40 to 60 seconds minimum. If you have a service like CallRail, important to monitor the phone calls, making sure that they're being picked up in time and that they're being handled accordingly, right? So customer service type thing, and people are getting their calls back and not going to voicemail. And these things are important as well, right? Because your true conversion rate is not just on Google, it's also what happens after somebody clicks and submits a form or makes a phone call. So in the isolation campaigns, we are, again, as laser targeted as we can. We've identified the keyword opportunities in the account. We are then making very smart decisions about the bidding. So we have to, and every market is different, right? So we have to look at the opportunities for these keywords. We have to look at the market, and we can see, rather quickly who you're competing against once we go live with the account, and just making sure that we are bidding appropriately for the keywords that matter to the business without overspending and making it unprofitable, which is why we talked in the very beginning about patient lifetime value and knowing your numbers, hopefully on a service by service basis. But if not, at least an average, right? But let's take a look. Okay, so we have this isolation campaign. We're just looking at a month. You can see in this particular period, This generated 23 phone calls and 30 conversions. So we are at the threshold at this point where we feel comfortable moving up the funnel, and then we go into exploratory. And let me take you through both of those. So we're going to look at isolation. Now again, isolation is just a campaign that has a very finite number of keywords that we are going to focus on, the ones that we've deemed to be the most important to the business. And we look at a lot of different columns here. So you can see here we have search impression share top. Okay, so from a terminology perspective, search impression share, there's different ways to look at it. You can look at search impression share overall, which is how often you show up on a page, and it can be anywhere on the page. You have search impression share top, which is the top 1 to 4 position, which is really what we're looking at. We focus more on that. That's why it's the number one column here, right? But as I scroll over, you can see a lot of different columns that we look at. Again, here's the general search impression share. Here's search impression share absolute top, which is the number 1 position. We also look at search impression share loss due to ad rank. Again, going back to, I think it's the second video where we talk about ad rank and quality score. This is why it's important to know your formulas, because then we can say, okay, are we losing opportunity because we're not hitting ad rank, right? And then if we are, then we look at the qualities. We look at quality score, and that's at the keyword level. And then we'll be able to see, okay, what do we need to do to get that up to a proper number so that we're not losing opportunity here due to ad rank. All of these columns are accessible through this column, through this column section here, and you can create your own column set, which I highly recommend. Okay, so we typically look at the same columns over and over again, and they're actually set and customized at each level. They're set at the campaign level, ad group, keyword level, because a lot of times there's different data that you'll want to see at each level. These columns can also pull in Google Analytics 4 data, which is very important as well. Okay, so engagement data, right? So people, once they click on your ads, are they going and spending time on your website, or are they bouncing immediately? Remember, going back to that quality score video, if somebody goes to your landing page and bounces back immediately, that's a negative signal for Google, and they will penalize you for it. Okay, so important to watch those numbers as well. So you can see this campaign is doing exactly what we wanted it to do. Okay, so this is an Austin focused campaign. This is, driving 30 conversions. We're hitting the magic number, 23 phone calls. There's another report that we look at, by the way, where we can see the length of phone calls to determine whether or not those were, quality calls, or if it was just a quick hang up. It gets even better if you use third-party tracking again, like call tracking metrics, or there's a whole bunch of them that you can. CallRail's another one where you can actually listen to the phone calls and get a good sense of what the quality is like, and the software will actually has an API connection with Google Ads, and you'll be able to see where those calls came from in terms of like what ad actually drove the phone call. And it's really, really enlightening to be able to listen to those calls and make a determination whether we should be investing in certain keywords. Really, yeah, I mean that's at the bottom of the day, that's what it's. This is an investment, right? It's not an expense. It's an investment in your practice. Okay. So what we do here, we look at all of these ad groups, and again, I'm just looking at a specific month, and this is in a prior month, and I would be looking and saying, okay, is this generating our phone calls and conversions, and what is the proper cost per conversion for this set of keywords? Now, these ad groups have a very small number of keywords. Remember when we did the account build, again, just bouncing back over into the Google Sheets document, remember, these campaigns and ad groups are what ends up in the Google Ads account. And the ad groups just have a few, a lot of times 5 or 6 keywords, and we're able to control the bidding and make sure that we have ad copy that answers that search, again, for the quality score reasons, right? So just jumping back into the account, so that's what you see here, a very small set of keywords. So let's just go into chiropractor geo Austin, right? So we have a lot of geo terms. These are for, Austin related keywords. And then we can look at it on a keyword basis and then set, a lot of times we don't set our bids at a keyword level. We'll set it at the ad group level. It's just a lot easier. And then we can monitor the search impression share. Again, as long as those keywords are generating profitable outcomes, we will continue to increase the bids to a level where it still makes sense for the business. And we have a whole spreadsheet where we do a whole analysis on that. But Really important stuff. And then at the keyword level, this is also where you can see your quality score and your ad relevance, your expected CTR, your landing page experience. So you can see in this particular case, above average ad relevance. This is the easiest part of quality score to nail, right? So make sure your ads are set properly with the proper ad copy. Landing page experience is probably the second easiest. But again, you have to have a great landing page, has to load quick. And you got to have people bouncing back, right? Expected CTR is the most challenging because it is a CTR of your ad in comparison to the competitors on the page. Again, Google's sneaky way of getting you to spend more money on your ads, okay? So we look at it at all these different levels, okay? So we have a bunch of ad groups here, as you can see. Some of them were paused, but the green ones are active. And what we're doing is we are looking again for a minimum of 30 conversions per month is the goal. Quality conversions, we're monitoring that as well. Once we have that, then we move up funnel into this other campaign type. Now remember, isolation, these are our own names here. So I have isolation, exploration, or exploratory. Isolation is the exact match with manual CPC. Okay, so we know the keywords we're targeting. We're going to set our bids. We're going to micromanage that campaign until we get to our 30 quality conversions. Once we're there, we take the winning searches out of that isolation campaign, and we use those terms, those search terms, as seeds for the exploratory campaign. The exploratory campaigns are broad match, believe it or not, and they are target CPA. So target CPA acts as the guardrails so that broad match doesn't go crazy and spend your budget right out the door, right? Traditionally, broad match could be very, very wasteful because it's a net that's just cast widely. It just pulls in anything. But if you apply target CPA and you do it the right way because you train the algorithm, again, as to what success looks like, then target CPA is going to behave somewhat. You still have to babysit it. In fact, when we introduce an exploratory campaign in chiropractic, we're in there every single day looking at the incoming search terms, what people are typing in terms of search queries. And if there's anything wasteful, we're blocking it immediately with negative keywords, okay? And we are actually training the algorithm as well. And it usually takes 1 to 2 months to fully train this algorithm, and then all of a sudden it starts behaving and operating the way it should most of the time, okay? So there is a timing here. You've got to do the isolation campaign and then exploration campaign, but the exploration campaign, as you can see here, just has a few keywords, right? So we just have 3 ad groups, that's it. In fact, we didn't even start with 3. We started probably with 1 or 2 and then just started adding more. And as the cost per conversion is within line, this one is less than $50 for somebody to come in, and if 50% of them are valid, then your cost per conversion is 100, and that client can easily represent thousands and thousands of dollars of revenue. So it just makes sense. And when we see the exploratory campaigns, the cost per click versus the isolation campaigns, most of the time, the cost per click and the cost per acquisition is a lot lower for exploratory because a lot of times, again, just like I talked about in the previous video, these campaigns pull in searches that you would never even imagine. They're long tail. They're not as competitive, right? But they still have a lot of intent behind them, and they will convert into patients. And these are the campaigns that allow you to grow and scale over time because the isolation campaign has a very finite number of keywords that are known, but that's it. You can only scale to that amount. What else is left? Well, exploratory uses, again, broad match with target CPA. So you're going to get a lot of crazy searches that have, long tail searches that have high intent as well, but you would never even know that they would be out there. You would never even know to structure your account with them. And that's really where it allows you to be able to scale, okay? And there's a way of scaling target CPA, by the way, as well. So we can get into a different video. But your target CPA is your target cost per acquisition, and you're trying to set it at a certain level. And there's a whole method to that as well. Too much for this video, but a whole way of exercising in scaling that bidding methodology to be able to pull even more and more clients into your practice. All right? So there you have it, the proper structure to start an account, especially from scratch, to build it out correctly, making sure you're measuring what really matters to the business, starting with an isolation campaign, getting the conversions where it needs to be, and then expanding it out with the exploration with target CPA, with broad match, and just scaling that way, right? So in the next video, we're going to talk about ad copy, because once your targeting is nailed, then you really need to nail your ad copy. The Google Ads, the copy for the last few years has been pretty extensive. You got 15 different headlines now and 4 different descriptions. So this is why we manage that as well through the Google Sheets document. And there's a whole method to doing ad copy right that I want to talk about. So it just becomes more and more interesting. You know, we actually lean on ChatGPT now to actually give us more additional ideas. So using AI as a sidekick to our process. But I'll take you through that in the next video. But hopefully this makes a lot of sense to you. You know, it's something that we do time and time again. It works over and over again. If you need help, let us know, because we do this stuff all day long and specialize in chiropractic, okay? So if you liked the video and you found value here, please like it, give it a thumbs up so we can continue making videos like this. And I will see you in the next video. All right, thank you.